said the lonely man. I don't wanna let go of this feeling. Leave me to roam, said the wanderer. There's too many cracks in my ceiling. I've got plenty of time to think of heaven, but right now there's too much on my mind, and I've had enough that religious stuff. And besides, I can't relate to your kind. Oh.
Okay, I am back. Let me make sure all my things are working here. Let's see. Yeah, we're here. I want to welcome you all this morning. Those of you who are listening on Facebook and on YouTube, you are in tune with Sunday School Live, and I am your teacher this morning, Alonzo Richard Fleming Jr. I want to thank you for joining us this morning. We are starting a series. This is part one of which will probably be an 8-part series on surviving principles for navigating a new world order. Principles for navigating a new world order. And again, I want to thank all of you who are joining me this morning and who will be joining me in the coming weeks. Now, the course, this is a class, and there is a curriculum for the class, and it's free. You won't be asked for money. You won't be solicited. You can take the course. I will send the course to you by just simply emailing me at mysundayschoollive@gmail.com, and I will send you this course, mysundayschoollive@gmail.com. So as you see what I go over this morning and in the coming weeks, you will want to follow. You want to follow the class with the course. Okay, so email me at mysundayschoollive@gmail.com. I will send you the link for the course. You can sign up for it. It's free. It takes about 4 hours to do the course, so you can do it over the time period, over a time period as we go along in the thing. But listen, this is necessary. I took a break from doing Sunday school because I wanted to accomplish several things. I wanted to launch my sons off on their own life. I wanted to make an assessment of what is needed to be said in these days. And I wanted to hear from my higher self for direction. And so I took some months off to really get some direction on which way I wanted to go in this and which way I should go. Because, brothers and sisters, I'm telling you, when you understand and find your mission, you can do it with confidence and clarity. And so that's what I took a break for. And I wanted to kind of see how things would be going in the world so I would have a better idea of what to say. And so we are doing this series on principles for navigating a new world order. Principles for navigating a new world order. Now, first of all, some of you, because of the way many of us have been taught, shake and shudder when you talk about a new world order or a new age, because we have been inoculated by our thinking to fear a order of civilization that is different from the one that's in place. And so even though we lament the world order that we are living under right now, we still fear a new world order that is opposite from this one. And so we've been inoculated, we've been indoctrinated, and miseducated to think that whatsoever exists and whatsoever is outside of ourselves. And as a result of that, we fear something different, something new. But a new world order and a new age is not a new phenomenon. It is something that goes with the life cycle. As humanity evolves, there is an evolution of world orders, just like there's an evolution and a development in technology, in thinking, in philosophy, in religion, in politics, in economics. There is an evolutionary process that takes place as humanity evolves closer and closer to the thinking of its creator. Jesus, in the 24th chapter of the book of Matthew, spoke about a new age and a new world order when his disciples came to him and asked. This is in the 24th chapter of the book of Matthew in the Bible. His disciples came to him and asked him a question. They asked him, what will be the signs for the new or the end of this age or the end of this order? And what will be the signs to us of you coming? And so he went through a litany of different situations that they would see, signs that would tell them that the end of this age that they were talking about is coming to a close. Now you have to remember that the disciples in Jesus' day, and Jesus himself, was up under the oppressive Roman government, who was killing the men, humiliating them, exploiting the women, and an entire people was laden under the burden of Roman oppression. And so the disciples, as well as Jesus, had an investment, a mental, psychological investment in seeing the end of the Roman age. So after all of the teachings that Jesus gave to his disciples, they asked him, what will be the signs of the end of this age and this order and your coming? They all tied together. And so he gave them, as I said, a litany of things that he would talk about, and he would tell them, this is what you should look for to let you know that you are at the end of an age, an end of a thought system, an end of a world. It's religion, it's politics, it's culture. You are at the end of it, and these are the signs that you are at the end of it. So the idea of a new world order and a new way of thinking is not new, not even in Jesus' day, not even with respect to Jesus. Now, I want to bring this out before I come into these principles that I want to talk about. And I want to put this question to you. If a new world order is evil and it's opposite from the present world order, then you would have to say that the present world order is good. The present world order is something you want to keep. So I want to ask brothers in particular, with the experience that we are having or have had, is this a world order that you want to keep? You might say, well, it's basically good, but it needs some adjustments. Well, how long do we need to make the adjustments? When will you see the results of your adjustments? And are you willing to forego time for these adjustments that you think you might be able to get by your various ways of going about getting it? If a new world order, if a new age is evil, then this one must be good. So let's get right into this. Principles for navigating a new world order. Now, I have always recommended this book to you by a similar name, but I'm not going to go into it like that. I want to go into these principles that are necessary that will fit in the coming age. As you see a nation in collapse, and as a result, a world in collapse, it don't matter which one of them you vote for. It doesn't matter which one of them you vote for. They both are signs. We are at the end of it. And our ancestors prayed for the end of it. We are at the end of America and the emergence of a United States. Your ancestors prayed for the end of America. America is white supremacy. Your ancestors prayed for the end of white supremacy. The end of the world of white supremacy. So the America is white supremacy. It is the philosophy of white supremacy. And as this philosophy collapses upon itself, you will see emerging the United States. There is a difference. The United States is humanity, which is what we have always wanted to experience, humanity in all its bouquets, in all of its colors, in all of its cultures, in all of its different philosophies and different ways of seeing things in a state of peace. And so it don't matter which one of them you vote for. We've been in this rodeo before. So what are the philosophies, the principles that are necessary to function in a new world order, organizational paradigm? You see, when I was a kid, I'm going to say about 8 or 9 years old or so, my father had these in our dining room in Detroit. The dining room, we had a television that sat in one corner of the dining room and a bookcase in the other corner. And in this dining room, my father had in the bookcase these books, these series. You might have seen them. It was a series that took the Bible from Genesis all the way to Revelation. It was, I guess about 10 volumes of this. And I don't know what it was about this thing, but I determined that not only was I going to read every book on that bookcase, every volume, I was going to read them twice, which I did. But there were a lot of questions that arose in my mind as I read these books on Jesus and Moses and Abraham and the whole book, the whole series of the Bible. There were just some things that just, no, that can't be true. Particularly the story of Moses bringing the children of Israel out of Egypt, out of slavery, out of bondage. This story in particular, now my dad was not a black kind of guy. He didn't preach black. He wasn't that kind of guy. So I don't know where this thinking came from. But I knew that there was something about my experience, even as a boy, that was different than the pictures that I saw in this book and the experiences that I had in school. There was something different about me as a result of the way I looked. I couldn't understand it. I didn't. But this particular story about Moses bringing the children of Israel out of slavery caught my attention, and it always irritated me through my life, even as a teenager when I really got dedicated into religion. I still had a nagging thing about this particular story, particularly the idea that these people were in a slave situation for 400 or so years, and they had integrated into the society of Egypt. And one of their own, through this whole story, if you've ever read the story, the mother of Moses put him in the water. He floated down. The Pharaoh's daughter found him and took him into her home as her own son. He was accepted and was high up in the Egyptian government. But like it was with myself, Moses had a nagging thing about the situation of the slaves and himself. And so he would often go out among them and associate with them, but he was in the king's house. The thing in particular that made me feel some kind of way about this story was when Moses met God under this story of the burning bush, and he gave him two things to say to the children of Israel. He told Moses to go speak to the elders and tell the elders what to say. And he told, God told Moses to go to the Pharaoh and say this to him. So I'm like, no, this has got to be some kind of fable, because if they were in slavery, how was he able to gather up all the elders and tell them, you understand, I want you to go do this. I want you to go talk to the people, tell them that we are about to be freed, and this is what you need to do to prepare. And then I'm going to go to the Pharaoh, and I'm going to talk to the Pharaoh and tell him we got to go. Let us go. I said, no, if I was a slave master, I wouldn't let him gather up the children, or the elders, I should say, and for him to be able to tell them that, because, you know, he's oppressing them. So how could Moses actually gather the elders up in order to tell them what to say to the rest of the people? This nagged me for a long time, that particular piece there. Until October 16th, 1995. See, when Moses was given the command to talk to the elders and tell the elders what to say, They were not elders at that time. They were young men at the time that he called them. And so it was a harmless thing. See, we think of this story as happening over a couple of days, a couple of weeks, but this story happened over decades. If you read the story, you will see it was over decades. It didn't happen over a couple of weeks. So therein lies my confusion, because I was reading it thinking that it happened over a couple of weeks. Moses got this message from God. He went away and told the elders. They got together and gathered and told the people. Moses said, let my people go. No, we think of that as happening over a short period, but it happened over decades. Now, here's why that's important. When Moses told the elders what to say, what to do, the elders were young men. They were not elders at the time. They were young men. But this force that came from the prayers of the forefathers knew what was going to be needed at the proper time, and so put it in place when they were young men, so when the time showed up, they would know what to do, what to say, and how to conduct themselves. So it was October 16th, 1995. We were young men then. We went on that mall and we took a pledge. And on that mall, we pledged to build societies. We pledged to build houses and factories. We pledged to build businesses. We pledged to take care of our own children. We pledged to not to use the B word when referring to any woman, and especially our own black sisters. We pledged to build in preparation for what was to come. We were young men. We were not elders at the time, but somebody knew that this day was going to be here, and so they prepared the elders before they were elders to meet this day. And so here we are. Here we are in this day. And as one world collapsed and another world rise, here we are. With the words in our mouth to speak to you about the necessary principles that you need to consider picking up in order to, one, survive the collapsing world order that is in front of you, and two, functioning in the world that's rising. And I know you've been told a lot of stuff. I've been told too. I know we've been given a lot of hocus pocus. I know what we have had shoved down our throat through every institution. And it's going to be difficult to release the indoctrination of our education, the indoctrination of our religion. They've been so busy indoctrinating us that they can't educate us. And so we need new thinking that's fit for a new world order. Jesus said it like this: you can't put new wine in old wineskins. You can't put new thinking that will collaborate with the old thinking. One of them has to go. You got to remove the wineskin, the basis of your thinking, in order to hold the new thoughts, because the new thoughts are so potent that they will bust the mind that tries to mix it together. So we need new principles. Because the difficulty in this is the infrastructure that's in place in our thinking is going to do everything it can do to survive. The old ways of thinking, the old ways of doing things, the old ways of saying things, it's going to stay there or try to stay there. And it's based on some principles, and here we go. Principles for navigating the new world order. And as I said, if you want to get the full course, just email me. I'll send you the link, and you can go with me through the course, and you will know what I'm going to speak on each week, as well as begin the process of changing our mind. Your vote is not going to get you more. Your vote under the same system is going to keep reproducing the same result because you're using the same thinking to vote. You got a choice between twiddly-dee and twiddly-dum. Twiddly-dee is just prettier. And you identify with the soft words. But the same result is coming from it. Because this thing is at the end and they are the last ones. And you see a black woman and a white man bringing it down. They both got the same mission. So, principles for navigating a new world order. Now, what is the basis of everything we do? If I ask you, why did you do this and why did you do that? You might come up with different reasons for why you did what you did. But there is a basis that's at the root of everything that we do. It doesn't matter what we do. There is a basis for it, a root that characterize, no matter how aberrated our thinking is, there's a basis of our thinking that is designed to do something, a primary goal. So the primary goal of man, the primary goal of yourself is survival. Everything we do at its basis is for the purpose of survival. Survival is the goal of man. It is at the basis. It is the root of every decision we make, whether the decision brings us destruction or value or greater value. We are doing, at the root of it is survival. It is the driving force of our existence. We are no different than the animals in that respect. The animals want to survive. We want to survive. It is the goal of man to survive. And thriving is the highest form of survival. See, you can survive at a low level, barely living, or you can survive at a high level, and we call that high level of survival thriving. And survival is the basic motivation, as I said, behind all actions and all decisions that you make. And all actions and all decisions, survival is the only reason you do a thing. And we're going to go into this even more. I want you to get the course. Send me an email, mysundayschoollive@gmail.com. I'll send it to you. So generally speaking, this survival mechanism, this survival base is at the basic, and there are urges and things that we use, principles that we use in order to enhance our survival. Let me show you how it can work no matter what you do, whether you do have destructive behavior or constructive behavior, as it were. Your basis of all behavior and action is survival. We want to survive. We want to thrive. Some years ago in Detroit, back in the 90s, there was this killing. This young man killed his girlfriend and his baby. And the whole city went up. They went up and was outraged. And nobody could answer, why would this man kill his girlfriend and his own child over a cell phone? She had taken his cell phone that she had purchased and was leaving him. And so nobody could understand why would he do such a thing? Is a cell phone worth that much to kill your girlfriend and your baby over? He went and got one of the AK-47s and came back and sprayed the house. Nobody could answer the question. Why? I had an inkling back then. I got on the radio and I said, you all seem to not understand the basis of this boy's thinking, which is the same as yours. He saw his life in that cell phone. And this girl, by taking the cell phone from that man, was literally taking his life. She took his life because he saw his life in the possession of that cell phone. And when the girl took the cell phone from him, it was like killing him, like taking his life from him. Now, at the basis of our existence is survival. So when he equated his life with that cell phone and this girl's taking his life, his survival instinct kicked in to save his life. And so to save his life, he defended his life by killing his girlfriend. Survival, no matter the way it manifests, is at the basis of all decisions we make. Every single one of them. Now, survival is the goal. Thriving is the higher form of survival. So what are the principles that govern survival? And I'm going to go over them quickly, and we're going to do, this is a general outline, and what we're going to do starting next Sunday is go over them one by one individually. So there are certain dynamics that function that guide our decision making in our effort to survive and thrive. And these dynamics, which are 8, are survival dynamics. And so I'm going to quickly go over them, and then, as I said, pick them up one by one in detail next week. So the first dynamic that we need to work with and understand and begin to utilize is survival as an individual. You are the basis. You are the basis for your survival. It is about you. I know they tell you it ain't about you. It's about your money, but it's about you. You want to survive as an individual, and everything else comes after that. You want to survive as an individual for as long as possible and survive on the highest level as possible. The second dynamic of survival is survival as a future generation. And this has to do with children, family, and sex. You want to survive as a future generation. That's why you want to keep your name going. That's why you want to have children and you want them to thrive, because you want to survive as your family. And that is the second dynamic of survival. Survival as future generations. And then the third dynamic is survival as part of a group. It doesn't matter what group it is, whatever group you are in, you want to survive as that group. You might be on a baseball team. You want your baseball team to thrive and survive and win, or a football team, or a hockey team, or a race of people, a culture. You want to survive as a culture and a race of people. Survival as part of a group. And then the fourth dynamic of survival is survival as mankind. You want mankind to survive. You want mankind, your species of humanity, to thrive in all of its bouquets of colors and cultures and existence. You want humanity to survive because you are surviving as part of humanity. So survival as mankind, as man as a species. The fifth principle of survival is survival as life forms. That includes plants, animals, bugs, etc. All the life forms. You want all the various life forms to survive because they work in harmony. So you want life forms. You don't just want humanity to survive. You don't want just white people to survive, or black people, or Asian people. You want all of humanity to survive. And likewise, you want life forms to survive. You want lions and tigers and ants and roaches and rats and all this to survive, life forms. And then you want to survive as the physical universe. You want this universe to continue. You want it to survive. And the universe, the physical universe, is comprised, they have components of matter, of energy, of space, and of time. You want that to survive. And you want to survive as that. You want as much time as you can get. You want the matter that you are made up of, that your body is made of, to be healthy. You want the energy and robust. You need this, and you want space, and you need time. So you want to survive as the physical universe. And then the seventh dynamic or principle of thriving and surviving is the spiritual dynamic. Now, this is separate from the physical only in the sense that it is beyond the physical. And survival as spiritual is the source of life. It is the life energy. So when you go back to the sixth dynamic, survival as the physical universe, you need this life energy. It is life itself. The life, the animator. You want to survive as spiritual. You are a spiritual being. You are a spirit. And then the eighth dynamic is survival and existence as infinity, or oneness with God, as it were, or all that is. It is the oneness survival principle that you are one with the universe, one with God, one with all that is. You want to survive as God, as part of the infinite all. You want to survive like that. So those are the 8 dynamics of existence and survival. The survival as the self, the individual, the survival as the future generations, survival as part of a group, survival as mankind, as a species, as life forms, as the physical universe, as spiritual, and as as infinity, or the God dynamic of survival. Now, we as a people, under the situation that we have found ourselves, have been given the dynamics of survival upside down. And as a result of the upside down way we are thinking, we are unable to operate effectively and at high levels with any of the dynamics, because we have been given it in an upside down manner. And we don't understand how these dynamics are used. And this is due to our education that we have been subjected to, or we have subjected ourselves to, and the socialization that we all have subjected ourselves to has given it to us in an upside down way. For those of you who read the Bible, I will refer you to Genesis chapter 2, verses 1 through 4. And you will see that after the God rested, you will see everything turn upside down. And when it's turned upside down, you can't navigate, because you don't know where you are to even begin to navigate. You see, in the beginning, God created heaven and earth, and then Lord God created earth, or made earth and heaven. In the beginning, God said it was good. Lord God said it's not good. In the beginning, God said, you are in my image. The Lord God said, you are the dust of the earth. It's all upside down. So we're unable to navigate properly, no matter our education, no matter the philosophy we get, no matter our religion, because we're starting in an upside down manner. And so these dynamics will have the effect of flipping us right side up. See, in the upside down way of thinking that we have been given, we're trying to be one with God. We're trying to survive as infinity, or the God dynamic. Jesus is everything. God, I can't do nothing with God. You don't know God because you don't know yourself. You can't start from the infinite and work your way down to the individual. You have to start from the individual. Let us make man in our image. So who are you? Before you can understand what the image of God is and the nature of the infinite is, you have to come to terms with your own true nature. So the upside down teaching that we have gotten tells us that we are not what God created, that we are self-created, and there's nothing we can do about it because we don't have any of the dynamics that is necessary so we can function as one with the universe. We don't know them. So the first dynamic starts at where you are. I teach my sons, let me show you how this works in education. In traditional education, African-centered education, I don't care what it is, but because we have been given an upside down way of thinking, it doesn't matter how it's given to us. It's given to us in such a way that it's useless. So let's just take African education. And we are to teach African history. I say no. Because we got all the African history we want. But are we developing as a people who functions on par with the rest of humanity? You know the answer to that. So how should education be taught? And I'm using African-centered education just for an example to show you how even though we got it, it hasn't benefited us. The reason it hasn't benefited us is because it's upside down. You don't start history from yesterday. You start from today. What is your address? 13982 Apple-Line. Who is your mother? My mother's this person. Who is your father? That person. Some don't know the mother or father. Who is his grandfather? You start from where you are, and then you work your way back. You don't see that way you identify with it going back. But if you start from back 2,000 years ago, you don't identify. You can't identify because it's another culture, another language, another people, another experience. So you can't identify because you are jumping a gap between your ancestors and yourself. It's upside down. You start with the self, and it's going to be a little difficult. Because mama gonna have to tell a whole lot of truth. Daddy gonna have to tell a whole lot of truth. But that's okay. Start with yourself. Start your children off as thinking about history, starting from where they stand. See, Booker T. Washington said it this way: drop your buckets where you stand and build. So you start with the self, and it's right in harmony with the first dynamic, the dynamic of the self. So what we're going to attempt to do, brothers and sisters, is to flip this thing right side up as you see the disintegration of this present world order. It is in full force. You see this world about to explode in warfare and self-destruction, and the thinking that it's being used cannot produce its opposite. You cannot use war to get peace. You cannot use war to get peace. You cannot say you want peace, but you arming one of the combatants with the weapons of death. So I want you to go to My Sunday School Live at Gmail. Just email and say, send me the link. I will send you the link to the course, and we're going to go through this course together. Now, one other point I want to make, and then I'm going to close. Brothers and sisters, we have a lot of thoughts about a lot of things. But one of the things that we never or rarely do is really challenge our own thinking to see whether or not it can hold up under the rigor of testing. And that's what we're going to do. Whatever holds up, I think the Bible says, prove all things, hold fast to that which is good. Whatever is good is what works towards your survival. And the survival under all the different dynamics. So listen, I'm going to be here at 9:30 every Sunday. So join me again. Tell somebody, share it. And Sunday school is back.